everyone, and welcome to MatheMagics, where my goal is to teach you math in a simple and straightforward way. My name is Amber, and I will be your friendly neighborhood math teacher through this process. Let's go ahead and jump right into the first lesson. Today I'm going to be focusing on how to choose the correct mathematical operation when dealing with word problems. Word problems is one of the trickiest and scariest parts of math, and my goal throughout this entire series is to show you how easy and attainable word problems can be. Let's start with addition. How do we know when we are supposed to add in a word problem? The first thing to do would be to try and recognize what we are being asked to do. And addition is used when we are given parts and asked to make a whole out of them, or to put them together to create some sort of a total. The other thing to look for would be some key words that really clue you into the fact that addition is going on. The most obvious ones being words like add, or plus, or sum. Less obvious ones, but we do see them from time to time, would be words like increased by, or combined, or together, sometimes seen as the phrase all together. Any of these things would really give you the hint that addition is what the question is asking you to do. Moving on to subtraction. First, understanding what subtraction is. And being the exact opposite of addition, that means we are taking some kind of a whole and we are breaking it up into parts, doing the process in the exact reverse. The key words that let us know that subtraction is the order of the day would be some obvious ones like subtract, or minus, or difference. And then we have other ones that we see sometimes, but not quite as obvious: decrease by, take away, and then my personal favorites, how many more, and how much more. These last two I really kind of like, and maybe it's a little mean of me, but it's because people get them confused a lot. They actually think that these two are addition questions, and that they're implying some sort of sum or total needs to be going on, but it's actually asking us to find the difference between two numbers, so that's what's keying us into the fact that we need to be doing some sort of subtraction here. Moving right along to multiplication, let's start with what is the process of multiplication actually implying. And in most cases, well, in all cases, it's about taking equal parts to find a total. Whereas in addition, the parts do not have to be equal, and multiplication they do, because we're using groups of equal size to find a total amount. All right, our obvious words: multiply, product, times, and a biggie of. Hopefully at some point someone in a math class told you that of in math always means multiply. It's a super important fact of information, and you use it all the time, so it's a huge deal to know that of means multiply. And the last one I'm going to put up here is the word per. Now this one is tricky, and I'm going to tell you why when we get to division in a second. But I want you to think about how we could use this in terms of multiplication. Think of the everyday example of a wage. Maybe you make $10 per hour, and you need to know how much money you're going to make after working 10 hours. You are going to multiply in order to figure that out, and that per is telling you what to do there. Alright, last of our four major operators is division. So what is division all about? It's the exact reverse of multiplication. So it's about taking a total and breaking it into equal parts. Again, notice that it's very similar to subtraction in that we are taking a total and breaking up into parts. But what makes it unique is that those parts have to be equal, just like they had to be equal in multiplication. So let's look at some key words. We've got the obvious of divide, or its variation divided by. We've also got quotient, And then a less obvious one, the word ratio implies division, if I can write it correctly, because ratio means that I'm taking two numbers and I'm comparing them with division, and actually usually we write those as fractions. And fraction, as some of you might know, is just another way to write a division problem. The last word I'm going to put up here, and this is where some of you are going to get confused, is the word per. So we use this in both multiplication and division. And that's because we can use it in two directions. I gave the example of wages where you'd multiply to figure out how much money you made in a certain amount of time. Well, we could work that problem backwards. Let's say you know you make $100 at the end of the day and you want to figure out how much money you made per hour. In that case, you're taking your total and dividing it into equal parts. So per can be used in both situations, and that's why it's important to not just know the key words, but understand how the math is actually working. Last but certainly not least is equal sign. How do we know where to put the equal sign when we're writing out our equations? And the big key word to be looking for is. Is probably the most common word used for equal sign. You will see that word more than any other word. You can also see variations on that word, so words like are, were, will be. Anything that's a variation of the word is telling you where to put the equal sign when writing out your equation in order to solve your word problem. Well, I think it's about time that we stop talking about word problems and actually look at some. So for each of these next 4 examples, I am not going to solve them. I'm just going to practice focusing in on those keywords and trying to determine which math operation we're looking for. If we're looking for addition, subtraction, multiplication, or division. So here we go. First one, gymnastic lessons cost $30 per week. How much will 18 weeks of gymnastic lessons cost? Here's my keyword, and oh no, it's the one that comes up in both. So now I have to figure out, am I multiplying or am I dividing? So now I have to fall back on understanding how these two different things work. Multiplying takes equal parts, gives me a total. Dividing takes a total, gives me equal parts. Which one am I looking at here? Well, if I look back, here's my equal parts, $30 per week. And I'm being asked for a total after 18 weeks. So ding, 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 multiplying is the winner. All right, number 2. The scores on your first 2 tests were 82 and 93. By how many points did your score improve? Here's my keywords. By how many? This is just like asking how many more and how much more. My 2 favorite ones. And these ones always mean subtraction. I would be subtracting here and do 93 minus 82. But again, not going to solve, just determining what I'm trying to do. Example 3. You're setting up tables for a banquet of 150 guests. Each table seats 12 people. What is the minimum number of tables you will need? Alright, so we have a problem here. There are no key words in this question. So this entirely relies on you understanding how each of the different 4 math operations work. So let's see what we have here. We have a total of 150 guests. And we have to seat them at tables that take 12 people each. That means I'm breaking them up into equal parts of 12. That must mean I'm using division, taking a total and breaking it up into equal parts. All right, last example for you today. 2 shirts cost $18 and $25. What is the total cost of the shirts? Here's my keyword, total. That implies I'm taking some sort of a combination of numbers. These are not equal numbers, so I'm not multiplying. I am just doing some simple addition. For our last segment here today, it's time for me to turn it over to you. I have taught you everything I can on this subject for now, and it's your turn to apply it and check that you've understood what you have learned. At the end of every video I post in this series, I will do this exact same thing, where I will post 1 or 2 questions that I want you to try and solve. You will not get the solutions or the answers until my next video is posted, because I want you to really take the time to think about it and challenge yourself to complete the work. For these 2 that I have here, just like in my examples, I do not want you to solve them. All I want you to do is read them through, maybe a couple times if you need to, find those key words, and then tell me what math is needed to solve the problem. Okay, so here's your first one. A store has 15 boxes of peaches. Each box contains 45 peaches. How many peaches does the store have? Read it over a couple times if you need to, pick out those key words, write down what math you think would be used to solve that problem. Second question. A gardener works for 14 hours during a week and charges $168. How much does the gardener charge for each hour? Again, read it a couple times if you need to, pull out those key words, think about the math process that needs to be used, and write down which of the big 4 you think that it is: addition, subtraction, multiplication, or division. Well, that's all I have for you today, folks. Please tune in next time so you can get the answers to the word problems I left you with. And next time, I'll be teaching you some review of adding and subtracting of whole numbers. Have a great day, everyone. I had a great time, and I hope to see you next time.